Hello, this is Mike Anderson, your Government Affairs Chair for NAMB. Today is Tuesday, April 19th, 2011. Well, it's been a while since I've produced a little video for y'all, and I've got quite a bit to talk about, but I'm not going to try to take up too much time. But the first subject I want to talk about before I get into the lawsuit is we got a letter. This letter, I hate to tell you, was kind of floating around out there, and it really didn't make it out into the media or anything else. But this is a letter from ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, Congressman Barney Frank, Representative Barney Frank. First off, I would like, if Congressman Frank, if you're watching this, thank you very much for looking out for the mortgage broker and showing your concern. We do appreciate it very, very much. But I'd like to read a couple excerpts from the letter itself addressed to the Honorable Ben S. Bernanke, Chairman of the Federal Reserve Board. Basically, in his opening remarks, he says, Dear Chairman Bernanke, I am writing to urge that the Federal Reserve take immediate action to make two changes to the rules cited above. Okay. Then he goes further on to the letter. He says, first, the rule appears to prohibit mortgage brokerage firm that is receiving compensation for a loan from a consumer, in other words, consumer paid, from paying any compensation related to that loan to an employee of the firm. Now, as you know, that was part of the grounds for our lawsuit, that we could not pay our employee loan officer because we're classified as the same definition as a loan originator, the mortgage brokerage firm. He goes on to say, this differs from Section 1403 of the Financial Reform Act, which merely states that if a loan originator receives compensation from the consumer, that originator cannot receive compensation from another source. This statutory provision prevents double dipping. While the more restrictive Fed rule, you notice what Congressman Frank said here, the more restrictive Fed rule prevents the sharing of the consumer paid compensation by the firm with an employee for that employee's work on the loan. I would note that such sharing of compensation would not involve an increase directly or indirectly in the level of fees paid by the consumer. I believe this language should be revised to allow employee compensation in the circumstances. In page 2, he goes on, what Congressman Frank is talking about, that the federal should allow the mortgage broker from time to time to make small fee reductions at the closing to cover shortfalls, which sometimes result because of last-minute third-party fee changes, etc. Anyway, so this is great. We are going to be using this letter, and once again, we thank Congressman Frank very much for writing this letter on the behalf of the mortgage broker. Now, let's get on to the lawsuit. Everybody knows what happened. We lost the stay on the lawsuit. We still are in the appeal process. The National Association of Independent Housing Professionals did withdraw with prejudice, which basically means that they can come back at any time. Is NAMB going to do the same thing? We can't answer that specifically right now. We did get a little setback just recently. That's the reason you haven't seen a video in a week and a half. And basically, we thought we were going to have some kind of an expedited possible hearing, but in May. But it looks like that's not going to happen. The appellate court judges are going on vacation. Thanks a lot. They get to go on vacation. It looks like it's going to be a long vacation. And we may not be able to have anything until midsummer or late summer. However, this goes on to the next big question. Do we want to go on further and spend the money? We'd love to hear from all of you as members. Should we spend the extra money? You're talking of probably $150,000. Let me tell you what we get with that. Couple things could happen. One, we could lose. Two, we could win. 3, we can get some very valuable information that we could use with lawmakers legislatively to try to change this rule. I'll give you an example. We already have some powerful information that Judge Burl Howe did in her final ruling when we lost the TRO in the beginning, which she basically states in there that she did agree that there was, and she did find irreparable harm to 6,000 mortgage brokers. Well, we know there's more than 6,000, but that was the number they assumed are members of NAMB. That's why it's so important to be members of NAMB, so we could say 150,000 or 160,000 sounds a lot better than 6,000. They also went on to say that the Federal Reserve Board has broad authority over any compensation issue related to a mortgage, which does that mean that they have control over realtors? Does it mean they have control over home inspectors and title companies and termite companies, etc., etc.? It could mean that. So there's valuable information that we could use when we're writing legislation. We do have 2 bills that we have drafted, by the way, that we're trying to get support on as we speak. One of the issues in the letter is to try to change the definition of a loan originator to that of the SAFE Act, which solves the dual compensation issue. So we are seeking support for those as we speak. If you have any senators or congressmen that would like to support that, we especially need on the Democratic side, please let us know and email us. Let me talk briefly about risk retention. This is a hot topic, as we know right now. Basically, government, I think you got to slow down here. You know, we have to slow down. You're taking on too much, and I don't think we're going to have much of recovery if you go into with this 5% retention and some of the other language that's in there. I could be on this video for another 20 minutes talking about it. But we do have a lot of industry trade groups that are in the fight on this. NAR's involved, the home builders. Believe it or not, Consumer for Responsible Lending is involved. Thank you very much for getting involved with this. We appreciate everybody. But with that said, I've talked too much already. Hey, keep those donations coming. We do want to hear from you. Do we go forward? Do we not? We'd like to hear your input on all of this. And as always, guys, let's don't give up. Don't give up. Keep your chin up. We're going to continue to fight legislatively, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Continue with the lawsuit. We do have a board call on this Thursday, but we will be talking to our lawyers again on Monday, right after Easter. So with that said, I wish you all a very spectacular holiday coming up this weekend, and thanks a lot, and stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks a lot. Bye.